Hello everyone, Scarlet Heart Rio Moon Lovers is on Viki, and I have caught up to all 15 episodes out of 20, and I want to discuss everything going on in the show. So let's get into it. There's going to be a lot of spoilers in this video, so if you haven't caught up to episode 15, please do not watch this video. So first of all, I want to talk about how much I love the fourth prince. He is tragic, he is tortured, he is troubled, but he is still so full of love, and he does everything that he can to prove to Haesu that he is a man worthy of her affection, and that he would do anything to protect her, and that his main goal isn't even really being emperor, but simply living his best life possible, making sure that she is safe, making sure that his mother is safe, making sure that he honors his family, because no matter how many people call him a monster, no matter how many people want to throw stones at him, he still remains one of the most honorable characters in the show. And I'm thankful that at least by episode 15, Hansu has realized that he is a man worthy of her affections and is finally returning his affections as well. It definitely took time because she met the Eighth Prince first. She was convinced of the Eighth Prince act first. And I say the Eighth Prince's act because I genuinely believe that he, not that he was pretending to love her, but that, he is a snake, essentially. Like, he never wanted to fully admit to anybody because of how guided he was in his steps that he wanted to be emperor. And the point at which he became more rash and more ready to admit that was when the emperor died and he asked, Haisu, like, is he really dead when he's trying to do a coup? And he always had his mind on the throne. The throne was always more important than anything else to him, based on how he treated Haisu's cousin and based on how he treated Haisu. Because honestly, like, if you're deeply, deeply in love with somebody like that, you will prioritize them, and ultimately somebody who wants to be emperor can never prioritize their lover. So he was never the man that she thought he was. She always thought that he would never change, and the problem is that she like never understood who Wang Uk really was. And once you realize who he was, and once you realize who Wang Su was, and the show does a good job of kind of showing how different Wang Su and Wang Uk are, especially in their approaches to love, she realizes that Wang Su is the one that actually deserves her affections and not Wang Uk. And I pity Wang Uk to an extent because it's like, wow, you can't have your cake and eat it. But I mean, it's it's also his choice, but the reason for why he wants to be emperor is a bit more complicated than that. He has a sister, he has a mother who have been really hurt by the main emperors who have kind of made their lives hell in the palace. He has been in the palace since he was young. His father's never really given him any affection or ever taken him seriously as a potential candidate for crown prince. And so he's always kind of hidden under a bushel, trying to show up whenever he can, but ultimately not being, very not being seen as very important, let's say, by the people that to he wants the attention of pretty much, which includes Haizu, which includes the Emperor. And being Emperor would make him feel like he can get everything he wants and protect everybody he wants. And the funny thing about it is, the scene in which his sister, Yunhua, admits that, like, she, framed Haisu for a crime of trying to poison the crown prince to put him on the throne, he, like, breaks out. But ultimately, he has to admit that, like, he can't really do anything because he wants to be emperor, but also because he's never really had any power. Like, the rash decisions that he makes from episodes 10 to 15 are based on the fact that, like, he's doesn't well, no, 11 to 15, sorry, are based on the fact that he doesn't have any power, and, like, that's what it is. Like, even Wang Chen tells him, you could not, like, save Haisu from possibly being executed for a crime he didn't commit because you don't have power. I hate your weakness. And it's funny because Wang Su might be the wolf and the monster or whatever, but him being outside of the palace and everything, him being so hated, has made him more like kind of like brash when it comes to approaching the emperor, and that's why the emperor likes him. Somebody that's willing to break and like bend the rules is somebody he's more willing to be emperor. But at the same time, he understands his son. He's closer to Wang Su, even though Wang Su was away from him. He would constantly be visiting Wang Su when Wang Su was like out of the palace. He'd constantly be checking up on him. But Wang Uk was right under his nose the whole time. I never paid any attention to him. The son you don't pay any attention to has no possibility of having any power or being respected by anybody, regardless how many times he like bowed down on his knees and said, I support the crown prince, protect the crown prince. None of us want to be crown prince. His father still never paid any attention to him, and ultimately that's where all the hurt is coming from. Especially after like Haisu basically like rejects him, and he's not able to marry her or be with her or get something else that he wants. It just hurts even more. So for that reason, I empathize with him. But he's also for the same reason he's also the worst romantic part of Haisu, and like I'm glad that by episode 15 she finally realizes that. I also want to talk about the Tenth Prince, and we don't get much of this arc, but we know that he's going to die. He's going to die in this battle for the throne because Wang Su's older brother is going to be emperor for a temporary time because we thought he died. We thought Yang Su stabbed him and he fell off a cliff and he died, but he did not. And he returns and he does a coup and he becomes emperor because the crown prince will die because Wang Uk and one of the other brothers has been like poisoning the crown prince and using Haisu's handmaid for it. And so everybody is going to get caught up in this battle for the throne. And Haisu's just going to be in the middle of it, observing everything that's happening, observing that all these men that she loves in many different ways are going to end up killing each other for the throne, ultimately. Like, even Wang Su. Like, his reasoning for wanting to be emperor are completely different. But he's still going to go after it. Not in a traditional sense of like, I want to be emperor, but just looking at everything and going, I need to do it. I need to step up because things are getting so crazy. I also want to mention like the antagonist in the show. Out of all of them, I feel like the one I like the most in terms of story arc is Yuan Hua because we know that the reason why she's evil is because she's been like trampled ever since she was young and she's seen her mother be powerless and she just refuses to be that way. There's an explanation for why she does everything she does. Even her hatred of Heisu. In, I believe, episode 15, she tells Heisu, it's like, everything's just a play to you, but it's my life or death. Like, I act the way I act because it's life or death for me, because of how I grew up in the palace. She has a good reason for why she acts the way she does. Alternatively, I feel like Wang Su's mother and her hatred towards him is just ridiculous because he's your middle child, sure, but he's also your natural born son, and her hatred towards him is unnatural. Honestly, like it's weird. I don't understand why they wrote it like that or thought that that was a good idea. I guess they want him to just have all the pain in the world and pretty much just have all eyes on Haisu, but it makes me sad too because I'm like, it would be nice if his mother wasn't like that evil towards him, but I guess they were trying to connect it back to the original Chinese version because in the original version, Wang Su's like stepmother's awful to him, but this is his natural born mother. I don't think that part of it like translates very well because I'm like, you could still have everything happen as it happens and him not necessarily be that close to his mother, but also that line of hatred is honestly just ridiculous to me, honestly. Um, and overall, I have really enjoyed this show, and I think my favorite arc so far has been episodes 11 to 15. Not really interested in the battle scenes as much, but I do like that I'm finally seeing Haisu and Wangsu have romantic moments. I don't think the build up was the best because I mean the final nail in the coffin for her was pretty much Wang Uk admitting that he wants to be emperor by what he said because before he died, the emperor told her, go run out and find the crown prince, but anybody who asks you if I'm dead wants the throne. And it's Wang Guk that asked her that question. That kind of like made the shift in her mind, but I still feel like the shift happened real quickly. Like every time Wang Su would be like, let's meet up after that, she would actually go meet up with him. And that's what I found a little jarring because beforehand, she was terrified of him because she had an accident and then had these visions afterwards and then was like, oh my god, he's going to become emperor. And I'm like, Okay, one thing I prefer the Chinese version is that she's fully aware of history and immediately knows what the fourth prince is going to be from the beginning. And she's already terrified of him. But getting terrified of him, like after you've already made him a friend and like changed his makeup and like acting like that is like bizarre. All because of a vision, girl. Be for real. And it takes the emperor to like knock some sense into her about don't change anything, chill out, relax. I know you love all of them, but relax. Like it takes that to have her like actually also just release any anxiety that she has. But regardless, I'm really enjoying this show. I'm excited to, watch the last 5 episodes next Friday when Vicky releases it because it takes 7 days. But yeah, and let me know what you think about what I talked about or anything else in the comments below. If you like my channel, please subscribe. If you like this video, please hit the like button below. Bye bye.